Good evening. Welcome to the December 18th meeting of Troy City Council. I'm Marty Baker, President of Council. Please silence your electronic devices for the duration of the meeting. We'll begin with the invocation by Mrs. Lynn Snee, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Please join me in prayer. Gracious God, as this year comes to a close, we thank you for the blessings we have received and for guiding us in the challenges we have faced. As we look forward to a new year with the promise of new beginnings, we ask for your wisdom in decisions that our community, especially this council, will face. We pray that you will provide protection for all citizens in our community, especially those who serve to protect us. Grant us peace through this holy season and always. Amen.
Amen.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Knight, please call the roll.
Mr. Tremblay.
Here.
Mrs. Snee.
Here.
Mr. Swazer.
Here.
Mr. Kendall.
Here.
Mrs. Oda.
Here.
Mr. Twist.
Here.
Mr. Phillips.
Here.
Mr. Terwilliger.
Here.
Mr. Heath.
Here.
All members of council are present.
Tonight, we'll begin with the public hearing. Mrs. Knight, please read ordinance 029, 2017.
Ordinance number 029, 2017, ordinance changing the zoning of 25 parcels in the city of Troy, Ohio, along West Main Street from OC1 Office Commercial District to a planned development, PD, and declaring an emergency.
I now declare the public hearing open. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak in favor of the ordinance? If so, please come to the microphone and state your name and address before addressing council.
My name is Terry Burns. I live at 1458 Champions Way in Xenia, Ohio. Good evening. As I said a minute ago, I'm Terry Burns and I'm the president of Kettering Medical Center. I'm here on behalf of the Kettering Health Network to formalize our support of Danis's request to rezone the network's property at 600 West Main from OC1 Office Commercial District to a planned development. Kettering Health Network's mission is to improve the quality of life through healthcare and education for the people and communities where we serve, and we're committed to fulfilling our mission here in Troy. We intend to offer healthcare services including inpatient, emergency, outpatient services, physician medical office space at this site, and we're very excited to partner with the community to bring this project to fruition. Over 15 years ago, Kettering Health Network decided to promote strategic growth of services in communities where the network did not have a significant presence. Subsequently, we have established several outpatient health facilities, health centers, and most recently, freestanding emergency departments. Kettering Health Network is excited about the acquisition of this historical piece of property to build a new community hospital here in Troy. We appreciate that Troy Development Council brought this property to our attention at the exact time that we were evaluating options. If you've driven by the site over the past few months, you've noticed significant earthwork. The site preparation and the earthwork are now done, and the foundation is being poured. In closing, this PD will allow us to increase the building height from 40 feet to 68 feet, which allows us to put a 3-story building that's more efficient. It preserves land for future growth. It provides appropriate signage for public safety and wayfinding. And it dedicates some public right-of-way space for the expansion and support of Main Street to enhance public safety. Thank you for welcoming Kettering to your community. The support we've received from the city's leadership and staff and Troy Development Council has been greatly appreciated. Our team will answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to speak in favor of the ordinance? Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak against the ordinance? Please come to the microphone and state your name and address.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rebecca Rice. My address is 496 Cayman Circle, Tip City, Ohio. I'm the president of Upper Valley Medical Center, and I'm here tonight to express our disappointment with the, if the City of Troy chooses to approve Kettering Health Network's emergency request to rezone 25 parcels of land to be used as a site for a new hospital. As Mr. Terry said, our mission is similar to theirs, and that is to build healthier communities with partners who share our mission and vision. And we feel that this particular activity on the Kettering Health Network's part does not support that for the City of Troy, nor does it support the need within the city limits. I'm concerned that the City of Troy delayed a public hearing on this matter until the evening of the third reading of the ordinance. I hope that you will take the time to carefully consider the feedback provided during this public hearing tonight prior to voting on this particular legislation. On November the 8th of this year, the City of Troy Planning Commission considered the rezoning application submitted by Kettering Health Network. The Planning Commission decided to hold a public hearing, declined to hold a public hearing, citing the straightforward nature of the rezoning request. We do not believe that Kettering's emergency request is straightforward as indicated by the Planning Commission. For example, things such as traffic flow, noise abatement, air and mobile response, and the fact that this is being requested as an emergency, we do not feel that that meets the definition of the ordinance. Upper Valley Medical Center is a community hospital serving the City of Troy and Miami County, and we are the county's largest employer and have been for many years. Since we opened our doors, we've been committed to providing excellent health care to the citizens of Troy as a nonprofit, mission-driven organization. For example, we recently received an A grade for patient safety from the Leapfrog Group, which is a national patient safety watchdog organization. In addition, over the past 5 years, we have really stepped up as a corporate partner to both the city and the county to provide numerous community benefit grants to ensure community members have access to the health care that they need. In fact, in 2016 alone, Upper Valley invested nearly $15 million back into Miami County through its care for uninsured, underinsured, and uncovered costs, as well as financial assistance to many community partners such as Hospice of Miami County, the Free Clinic, the Dental Clinic, the Miami County Dental Clinic, and Miami County Recovery Council and Samaritan Behavioral Health. In addition, the addition of Kettering Health Network to the area creates unnecessary duplication of health care services to a community that will harm your county's largest employer. Adding duplicated services just a few miles apart does not benefit either hospital system nor the community. Duplicating services that harm Upper Valley Medical Center because of market oversaturation affects our ability to best serve the patients in this community. For example, our hospital system currently offers services such as addiction treatment and recovery and burn care at a loss in order to support all the needs of the community and the extended community. Some of these services may in fact need to be adjusted in their scope and complexity if this ordinance is passed. The same goes for jobs in our community. The addition of Kettering's hospital will not result in significant job growth to the City of Troy. It will be a transfer of jobs from Upper Valley Medical Center to the City of Troy. And we'll just steal employees back and forth. Kettering has requested that this council consider the rezoning request on an emergency basis. Kettering's rezoning request does not meet the criteria for emergency consideration, which is defined in the Ohio Revised Code as an emergency measure necessary for the immediate, with great emphasis on the word immediate, preservation of the public peace, health, and safety of the municipal corporation. Emergency legislation should be used sparingly because passing such emergency legislation cuts off the rights of residents to file for a petition for a referendum during the 30-day waiting period. Therefore, Kettering's rezoning request should be considered without the emergency designation. Something of this magnitude deserves the public opinion to be expressed, and the people have the right to express that opinion. Miami County made a very difficult decision 20 years ago to consolidate the 3 hospitals that were here. I was part of that decision-making. Some of you were in the community when we did that. We did that because we did not have the population necessary to support 3 hospitals that duplicated services in all 3 locations. In the past 2 decades, the county's population has only increased by about 6%. That is not enough to create the demand necessary for an additional hospital, especially when you consider advances in healthcare technology that not only encourage but make it very easy for people to use mobile apps on their phone, to have virtual visits, minute clinics, etc. So bricks and mortar is not where the future of healthcare is going. If you have not had a chance to visit Upper Valley Medical Center lately, I would invite you to reach out to me or any of my vice presidents to come out and see what we have done over the past few years. We have a tremendously beautiful cancer center. We have an expanded and new emergency department. We have advanced ICU. We have 2 hyperbaric chambers for wound care, and the list goes on and on and on. We have a surgical robot, and the list just goes on and on and on. So I would invite you to come out and see what is available in your own community. It's important that you understand how your decisions as council members tonight could affect Miami County's largest employer before you make those decisions. So I reiterate that a move that hurts the county's largest employer is never a good business strategy in the long term, and this could certainly change the scope of services that is provided at Upper Valley Medical Center. I thank you and respectfully request that you consider the information that I have shared. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience that wishes to speak against the ordinance? Please come to the microphone and state your name and address.
Good evening. My name is Mike Mayberger. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Premier Health. I'm a resident of Troy, Ohio. And so I have been so for the past 26 years. I was one time president of Upper Valley Medical Center, and I was here when we made a very difficult decision to consolidate to the beautiful location that we have today. And so, you know, I'm not here to do anything else, I guess, but to reiterate what Becky just very well put. Anytime that you're considering something that is not in the best interest of, as Becky said, your largest employer, it's hard to see how that's a good business development strategy for the community. You know, we don't mind competition. We have competition all over the place. But I think tonight what I think is important for you to know is that from an operations standpoint, as this goes forward, this is not a win-win situation. We will be forced to look at our business development plans for our campus, for Upper Valley Medical Center, for the services that we offer in this community. Miami County has a unique situation with Upper Valley Medical Center. Not every county in the state of Ohio has a full-service community medical center in its community. And I will tell you that in the future, as this goes on, we will have to look and see what services, as Becky said, we're able to offer and we're not. There's no other way to do it. So, as I said, this is not a win-win situation. Troy's been my home for the past 26 years. You know, my kids have gone to school here. We're a face. We welcome competition, but I just wanted to make sure that we're not afraid of it, but I wanted to make sure that you understand that, like any other business, any of your businesses, that it's, you know, you have to do what you have to do to compete. And so in this business of healthcare, it is one where you have a relatively small, focused amount of services that help support many other services that you do in the best interest of the community. And you do that because you have a community mission, and regardless of their ability to pay. And that's something that will be in a little more jeopardy as we go forward, and we're going to have to reassess. So I just felt I was compelled to say this. But I appreciate your time and your willingness to allow me to speak, and I hope you'll give that serious consideration. Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience that wishes to speak against the ordinance? I declare this public hearing closed. Mrs. Knight, please read a summary of the minutes of the December 4th meeting of Troy City Council.
Minutes of council, December 4, 2017. Committee reports. Law and Ordinance Committee recommended that ordinance number 028, 2017, a rezoning, be approved. Committee recommended that ordinance number 027, 2017, a rezoning, be approved. There was an oral report regarding the notice of a liquor license. Safety and Health Committee recommended that legislation be prepared authorizing agreements with Concord Township, Staunton Township, and Lost Creek Township related to fire and EMS services. Personnel Committee recommended that legislation be prepared to adjust entry-level hourly rate for temporary part-time employees to meet minimum wage. Resolution number R55, 2017, enter into an agreement with Concord Township Board of Trustees, was given first reading and adopted. Resolution number R56, 2017, enter into an agreement with Staunton Township for fire and EMS services, was given first reading and adopted. Resolution number R57, 2017, an agreement with Lost Creek Township, was given first reading and was adopted. Ordinance number 027, 2017, a rezoning, was given third reading and adopted. Ordinance number 028, 2017, a rezoning, was given third reading and adopted. Ordinance number 029, 2017, a rezoning, was given second reading. Ordinance number 032, 2017, establishing salaries of temporary employees, was given first reading and adopted. Ordinance number 033, 2017, the reappropriation of funds for 2017, was given first reading and was adopted. There being no further business, council adjourned at 7:24 p.m.
Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
Move we accept the minutes as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Kendall and seconded by Mrs. Oda to accept the minutes. Mrs. Knight, please call the roll.
Mrs. Snee.
Yes.
Mr. Swazer.
Yes.
Mr. Kendall.
Yes.
Mrs. Oda.
Yes.
Mr. Twist.
Yes.
Mr. Phillips.
Yes.
Mr. Twilliger.
Yes.
Mr. Heath.
Yes.
Mr. Tremblay.
Yes.
Minutes are approved.
We just have one committee report from Personnel Committee, and Mr. Terwilliger.
Thank you, Madam President. Mayor Beamish has asked for approval of the reappointment of J.C. Wallace to the Economic Development Revolving Loan Fund Review Committee. I would like to move that council approve the reappointment of J.C. Wallace to the Economic Development Revolving Loan Fund Review Committee for a new term commencing January 1 of 2018 through December 31st of 2021.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Terwilliger and seconded by Mr. Schweizer to approve the reappointment of Mr. J.C. Wallace to the Economic Development Revolving Loan Fund Review Committee. Mrs. Knight, please call the roll.
Mr. Swazer.
Yes.
Mr. Kendall.
Yes.
Mrs. Oda.
Yes.
Mr. Twist.
Yes.
Mr. Phillips.
Yes.
Mr. Twilliger.
Yes.
Mr. Heath.
Yes.
Mr. Tremblay.
Yes.
Mrs. Snee.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
At this time, does anyone in the audience have any questions or comments related to agenda items this evening? If so, please come to the microphone and state your name and address. There is a 2-minute time limit at this point in the meeting, and Mr. Kerber is our timekeeper. Seeing none, then, we'll move on to ordinances and ask Mrs. Knight to please read ordinance 029, 2017.
Ordinance number 029, 2017. Ordinance changing the zoning of 25 parcels in the city of Troy, Ohio, along West Main Street from OC1 Office Commercial District to a planned development, PD, and declaring an emergency. This has been recommended for approval by the Troy Planning Commission. There was a public hearing this evening. This is the third reading.
Is there any questions or further discussion from council?
Move to adopt. Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Schweizer and seconded by Mr. Kendall to adopt the ordinance. Mrs. Knight, please call the roll.
Mr. Kendall?
Yes.
Mrs. Oda?
Yes.
Mr. Twist?
Yes.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Terwilliger?
Yes.
Mr. Heath?
Yes.
Mr. Tremblay?
Yes.
Mrs. Snead?
Yes.
Mr. Swazer?
Yes.
Ordinance is adopted.
Mrs. Knight, please read ordinance 034, 2017.
Ordinance number 034, 2017, ordinance to accept the application for the annexation of certain territory containing 1.952 acres more or less in Concord Township to the city of Troy, Ohio. This is known as the Strayer annexation. Council had previously approved this, forwarded it to the county. The county approved the annexation and returned it to the city. This is the first reading.
Are there any questions or comments from council?
I move to suspend the rules.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Tremblay and seconded by Mr. Twist to suspend the rules. Mrs. Knight, please call the roll.
Mrs. Oda?
Yes.
Mr. Twist?
Yes.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Twilliger?
Yes.
Mr. Heath?
Yes.
Mr. Tremblay?
Yes.
Mrs. Snead?
Yes.
Mr. Swazer?
Yes.
Mr. Kendall?
Yes. Move for adoption. I'll second.
It's been moved by Mr. Kendall and seconded by Mr. Heath to adopt the ordinance. Mrs. Knight, please call the roll.
Mr. Twist?
Yes.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Terwilliger?
Yes.
Mr. Heath?
Yes.
Mr. Tremblay?
Yes.
Mrs. Snead?
Yes.
Mr. Swazer?
Yes.
Mr. Kendall?
Yes.
Mrs. Oda?
Yes.
Ordinance is adopted.
That completes the business portion of tonight's meeting. Mrs. Knight, are there any communications or announcements?
No, there are not.
Tonight we have with us Mr. J.C. Wallace to present an update regarding the Troy Development Council. Mr. Wallace?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I have some copies of our report for your review. I was asked by Mr. Chittering to keep it short. My name is J.C. Wallace. I'm the CEO of the Troy Development Council. This is a report of the TDC's activities for 2017. I must say that 2017 was an excellent year for our economy locally and for all of our companies, and we appreciate everything the city has done to make this a great place to live and to do work. We look forward to our partnership in 2018. The greatest challenge our companies have right now is finding employees. And we're not alone in that, but that has become the focus of what the Troy Development Council is doing. The Kettering Health Network Troy Hospital project started 3 years ago with the demolition of the ITW facility. I'm glad to say that that's moving forward. Silverload Consulting identified that as the highest and best use for that site. We spent considerable time over this period working on that project. We really appreciate the fact that Kettering has dealt with the great challenges and the expenses to prepare that site. And if you drove by the facility, you could tell that it was an extensive project for them. The other project that's been going on is the Downtown Riverfront Redevelopment Project. And I think that capitalizes on the city's investment of what you did at Treasure Island. And I think we have to see a great potential in the redevelopment of the downtown. The most significant activities really have been by our companies. And I must say that we've had expansions from our smallest companies to our largest companies. If you look at the expansion of the Cegna project, a company that we called on in Japan on Barnhart Road, the expansions of UTC Aerospace, F&P America, Clopay. All these projects were basically projects that started in 2016. We're now seeing a lot of results from those activities. Most substantially, I think Clopay has hired 150 people as their expansion has been completed. Also last year, we saw the expansion of the Hobart Institute of Welding Technology, a project that's going to bring a lot of visitors to our community. But primarily, our activities have been on our workforce development. We've really been working on career planning for high school students and have hired a career planning coordinator that's going out to all the school districts in the county. We've capitalized on our trip to Germany to work on apprenticeships, and the Upper Valley Career Center has doubled the number of apprentices this year, including a number of students from Troy. We have upgraded our Troy Career Connect website to a Your Career Connect website, which basically involved a new software program that's going to make it easier for our companies to advertise the jobs they have, but also to help our students match the careers they want with the businesses in the community. We continue to upgrade our professional recruitment website, the Troy, Ohio USA website, and we spent a considerable amount of time working on our professional recruitment to look at bringing a four-year college and university to the community, which includes looking at the Miami Jacobs property and how can we get more four-year colleges to look at that as a site. In 2018, there's a lot more to be done. We formed a job readiness task force to look at transportation, daycare, and the potential for area residents who are facing drug challenges to get a second chance through employment. That's a critical issue for us, is to increase the size of the available workforce for our employers. So that's a brief overview. You have basically our end of the year report. It was a great year for us this year. I'm really looking forward to the upcoming year, and I really appreciate the partnership and what you all have done to make this a wonderful community.
Thank you. Do any council members have any questions at this point?
If I may.
Mr. Phillips?
I've attended a couple of the tours that TDC and the redevelopment company have put on this past year, and particularly with Upper Valley Career Center. Their partnership with that is just outstanding. So the work that is going on for our future employees, the outreach for that is just outstanding from my point of view, and the events that I've attended this year. So great work.
Thank you.
Any other council questions or comments? Thank you very much for being here. Have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you all.
Mayor Beamish, do you have comments for us this evening?
Just three. First of all, thank you for that reappointment of J.C. Wallace. We do have a great partnership. You heard that today, and where we're heading is really a real true working together. And I appreciate what Mr. Phillips said too. Thank you. The second thing is just to bring Christmas blessings to all of you and all of our community. We do live, and we heard this a number of times, we live in a great, vibrant community. We're moving forward. We're truly blessed. We have good people such as yourself that serve, and the opportunities that we have available for people of all ages in this community is commendable. So I just want to wish you the warmest of a very Merry Christmas. I said warmest of a very Merry Christmas. And I hope that we have a year that continues to be full of joy and happiness and productivity as we move forward for our citizens and in our community. And with that, I would like to ask President Baker to join me in the front. I have two presentations. We have two presentations that we'd like to make, if that's possible. So we're going to move it up front. And if I could, I'd like to have Lynn Schnee come forward, please. Lynn, we really appreciate your service to this community, not only as an educator, but as a councilwoman. And we'd like to present this Lynn B. Schnee in grateful appreciation for your dedicated public service to the city of Troy, Ohio, and to all the citizens of this community. Troy City Council, council member at large from January 1st of 2012 to December 31st of this 2017. And I'd like our president to present that to you, and I'll shake your hand. Second, and if I could have Doug Tremblay come forward, please. Doug, you've contributed to this community in so many different ways and in so many different activities and service organizations, but we would like to present this Douglas W. Tremblay in grateful appreciation for your dedicated public service to the city of Troy, Ohio, and all the citizens of this community as a Troy City Council 2nd Ward Council member from September 8th of 2011 to December 31st of this 2017. And President Baker will present that to you.
Get a free koozie.
And continuing then, Mr. Titterington, do you have comments this evening?
I get to follow that, huh? Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Mr. Tremblay and Mrs. Snee for their service, and I tell you, it was a joy to work with both of you, and I appreciate what you've done. Do want to make sure everybody's aware that we are closed on, of course, the 25th, also the 26th, and January 1st, and this is the only occasion I will say that our refuse and recycling is delayed a day. So we are delayed a day. I want to wish everybody a happy holidays, and let everybody know as part of that happy holiday wishes that we are continuing leaf pickup for the foreseeable future, as long as weather permits. We know that the leaves were a little delayed coming down this year, and we've had some okay weather. We hope to continue that the rest of this week, if not the following week, if necessary. That's all I have. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Director of Law, Mr. Kerber?
Other than the comments to Mrs. Snee and Mr. Tremblay, thank you for serving on council. I have nothing further. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Thank you. City Auditor, Mr. Frege?
Thank you, Madam President. I have nothing at this time.
Thank you. I would also like to thank both Mr. Tremblay and Mrs. Snee for their service. It's been a pleasure to work with both of you, and wish you all the best, and hope you'll keep us in mind for in the future. I would also like to congratulate and thank Mr. Tom Force for his 41 years of service to the city of Troy. That has got to be a record, I believe, or nearly so anyway. Also like to thank Mr. Dwayne Puckett for his service and wish him a long and happy retirement. Reminder to council that we have our oath of office for the new year on December 28th at 4 p.m. Are there any comments from council members tonight? Anyone? Mr. Phillips.
Yes, sir. I'd like to jump on with the accolades for both Doug and for Lynn. They're outstanding people. They're great minds. They do so much for the community, not just with council, but with other organizations in the school. So I treasure your input on the items that we've gone through over the past several years and in the future. So hopefully one day you'll be back sitting here. So thanks, guys.
Thank you. Anyone else on council?
If I may, Madam
Mrs.
President.
Snead?
Just to say thank you to all the council members that I have been able to serve with over these past years, and a very special thanks to the city staff and for what you do every single day, day in and day out, to make sure that Troy's services are among the best, and all the help you offer to community members. So I especially want to thank our city staff for everything you do.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Tremblay?
Yes, I also would like to thank the voters of the Second Ward who've put me in this position several times, and also the staff and the other elected officials of the city of Troy. They've made it a very rewarding experience, and my family, who gave me a lot of support. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other council members' comments? Okay. Any comments from city staff this evening? Any questions or comments from anyone in the audience?
Lester Connor, 1210 South Clay Street, Troy, Ohio. Well, we made it through another year. Some good, some bad. But I'd still like to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. And on that word prosperous, I'd like to let you know that I got $1 on my Social Security for the first time in 3 years. So it shouldn't take you too long to figure out how to get that out of my pocket. Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience have any comments? Thank you all for attending tonight's meeting. Have a safe and peace-filled Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Meeting adjourned.